Hello bookworms! Today I'm going to be doing a video showcasing my entire young adult fantasy TBR. So my first TBR video where I showed you guys my entire adult fantasy physical TBR was met with like an overwhelmingly positive response. So you guys said that you wanted to see more genres, so I'm going to be filming more genres. So today I'm going to be doing YA fantasy, and you guys also mentioned that you wanted to see my spreadsheet, so I will show you a little clip of what it looks like right now. It's super simple. Like, I just made it really easy for myself. So starting off at the top of my spreadsheet, I have 5 rows that are colored in pink, and those are like the next 5 books that I really want to read within whichever genre tab you're on in my spreadsheet. So that's the first thing. Then below that, I have the rest of my physical TBR listed out. In the first column, it says the title, and then in the second column, it says the author's last name, and I have it alphabetized by author last name just to make it easier for myself. So when I'm looking to take things off of my spreadsheet, it is easy to find. If you look at the bottom of my spreadsheet, you can see that I have like a bajillion tabs here. So I have physical TBR tabs for like everything from arcs to young adult fantasy to adult fantasy to sci-fi to horror to contemporary to classics to literary fiction to nonfiction to middle grade to manga to graphic novels. It's all broken down here, and thrillers. It's all broken down here so that I can very easily find something within the genre that I want to read that I already physically own. Super simple. Hope you guys liked that little screen grab so you can see what I did. It's very easy to create one for yourself if you're interested. So now moving into the bulk of this video, it's going to be structured the same way as the adult fantasy TBR. So again, I'm going to be showing you my top 5 books first because I have those listed at the top. And then below that, I'm going to be showing you the rest of my YA fantasy TBR in alphabetical order by author's last name. Here we go. Except I think I'll just show you this together because it's a duology. So first up, I have Victoria Schwab's Monsters of Verity duology. The first book is This Savage Song, so this is the one that I have listed as number 1 on my spreadsheet. This is actually a possibility to read for Medievalathon now that I'm thinking about it. And then second I have Our Dark Duet. So this one's actually not in that top 5, but I thought it just made sense to show them to you together. Next up I have King of Crows by Libba Bray. This is the 4th book in the Diviners Quartet. So this is the last book that I have to read, and this is definitely my top 5 as well. But I need to put this back because it is holding up my Wheel of Time shelf, which is breaking. Next up, we have Call Down the Hawk by Maggie Stiefvater. This is the first book in the Dreamer trilogy, and I'm actually planning on reading this one for Medievalathon in May. Then my friend gave me his ARC copy of The Night Country by Melissa Albert. This is the companion novel to The Hazelwood. So I've been debating whether or not I want to reread The Hazelwood before I read this one. Not 100% sure yet, but I think I can probably just jump into this since it's a companion and it's not like a direct sequel. And then rounding out my top 5, I have A Heart So Fierce and Broken by Bridget Kemmerer. This is the second book in the Cursebreaker series. The first book was A Curse So Dark and Lonely, and I really enjoyed that one. It was inspired by Beauty and the Beast, and in this one it's a companion, so we're following 2 different characters, and one of them was like my favorite character from the first book, so very much looking forward to getting to this one. And now the rest of my TBR will be in alphabetical order by author last name. So first we have King of Scars by Leigh Bardugo. I finally finished the Grisha trilogy, so I'm ready to dive into this one at some point. Then I have The Winter Duke by Claire Eliza Bartlett. This was included in the novel box that I curated back in March, so this was the new release that I picked out, and I thought it sounded really good, so I'm really excited to have received one of the boxes that I curated so that I was able to add this book to my TBR. Then I have Peter Pan Straight Until Morning by Liz Braswell. I kind of want to do like a marathon where I just read all of the books in the series, especially now that I've been playing so much of the Disney Villainous board game. I've been like really in the mood to read these. Then I have the first 2 books in Rachel Kane's Great Library series. The first one is Ink and Bone, and the second one is Paper and Fire. Then I have Roar by Cora Carmack, Graceling by Kristen Kishore, The Bone Witch by Rin Chapeka, which is the first book in a series, so if I like it, then I will by the other ones. The Bane Chronicles by Cassandra Clare, which is the only Shadowhunter book that I have not yet read. Drink, Slay, Love by Sarah Beth Durst, which is a vampire novel. Ace of Shades by Amanda Foody, which I'm planning on reading very soon. Beautiful Chaos and Beautiful Redemption, which are the last two books in the Castor Chronicles quartet. Heart of the Fae and Veins of Magic, both by Emma Hamm. These ones could potentially be adult, but I'm like 99% sure that they're YA. Dark Shores by Daniel L. Jensen, which I really want to read very soon because the second book has the most beautiful cover ever, and I think I need it. The Hearts We Sold by Emily Lloyd Jones. I read her other book, The Bone Houses, like a couple of months ago, and I really loved it, so I definitely want to read this one soon. The Stormcrow by Kaylin Josephson. One of my friends recently gave me his arc of this book, so excited to read that. The last 4 books in the Air Awakens series by Elise Kova, which are Fire Falling, Earth's End, Water's Wrath, and Crystal Crowned. Loki by Mackenzie Lee, though I'm a little bit turned off by the recent drama with her, but I do really love Loki, so I probably just need to put a little bit of time before I read this one. So This Is Love by Elizabeth Lim. This is the Cinderella Twisted Tale. The Harp of Kings by Juliette Marillier. I actually never got around to reading this in April because I ended up picking up Way of Kings. Unhooked by Lisa Maxwell. This is actually another Peter Pan retelling, as well as The Devil's Thief, also by Lisa Maxwell. This is the second book in the Last Magician trilogy, and I'd been putting this one off until we got a release date for the third book, which keeps getting pushed back, and I think that one's supposed to come out in December at this point, so we'll see what happens there. The last 2 books in the Falconer trilogy by Elizabeth May. So book 2, which is The Fallen Kingdom, and book 3, which is The Vanishing Throne. When the Moon Was Ours by Anna Marie McLemore. This one I know is more magical realism than fantasy, but I do not have a physical magical realism TBR because this would be the only book on it. I tend not to really like magical realism too much. I try to limit what I purchase of those. Books 4, 5, and 6 in the Vampire Academy series. So we've got Blood Promise, Spirit Bound, and Last Sacrifice. Girls of Paper and Fire by Natasha Nian. The Fairy Queen's Deception Duology by Maggie Stiefvater. I can never remember which one's first and which one's second, but I think Lament is the first book, and I think that Ballad is the second book, but don't quote me on that. Then the first 2 and only published books in Laini Taylor's Fairies of Dreamdark series, and they were purchased used, as you can see. They're like library copies. I think the first one is Blackbringer and the second one is Silkslinger, but I could also be wrong about that order. And I actually never read the third book in the Daughter of Smoke and Bone series. So this one is Dreams of Gods and Monsters, and I've actually convinced my friends to reread the first book with me in the latter half of the year because I think that I really need a refresher on books 1 and 2 before I try to read this one, but I'm excited to have this one in my future. Then I have The Guinevere Deception by Kirsten White, The Sky in the Deep by Adrienne Young, the Books of Bayern series by Shannon Hale. First is Goose Girl, then Enna Burning, River Secrets, and Forest Born. And finally, I also have a copy of Blood Heir by Amelie Wen Zhao, and this is the final book on my on my young adult fantasy TBR. Okay. This is going to be some major cleanup that I have to do here. So I am going to end this video now. Let me know if you read anything that I have on my physical TBR, anything you think that I should maybe unhaul and isn't worth investing my time in. That would be nice to know because I would love to get this number down. But yeah, that's all that I have for this video. I will be doing other genres in the future as well. I have a couple more coming your way, but thank you guys again for the overwhelmingly positive response to the first one that I did because these are fun to film. Maybe I'll do an update in the future to show you guys how far I've gotten them down because I'm kind of focusing on doing that right now and I've been hauling less books this year. That's all that I have for this video, so I will see you guys soon in a new one. Bye!